Hello my friends, and welcome to my kitchen. It is, what is it? It's Tuesday. So, yes, it's Tuesday, May the 16th, and I should know that. I will be shot if I don't, because it's my dad's birthday tomorrow. So if you see my dad tomorrow, wish him a happy birthday. So, what are we doing tonight? First thing we want to get done is, if you're on Say Hi, if you're watching this on the replay, hashtag replay. So the first thing I wanted to do tonight is we want to make that chicken stew. So I'm just using our Epicure saute pan, and hopefully you can see me over here. So in here I browned off one chicken breast. So it's about a pound of chicken. They say is one breast, so we browned off a chicken breast. And I just cut it into bite-sized pieces, browned it off with a little bit of seasoning, because as we all know, chicken doesn't have a whole lot of flavor to it. So we're gonna flip the stove onto medium. And I have here about 1.5 cups of frozen vegetables. This is my hack with making our Homestyle chicken stew. We're just using frozen vegetables. So we're gonna dump those into the pot with our chicken. And just finish sauteing those off a little bit. Okay, so they're in there. We are going to open our Homestyle chicken stew package. And don't worry, you're not gonna be facing the stove all night. We'll get you turned around in a minute or two. And then we're gonna make the biscuits for the base of our mini pot pies, chicken pot pies. All right, so we're just taking the package and we're gonna dump it into, it calls for about 1.5 cups of water. I'm just under 1.5 cups, just because I'm using frozen vegetables instead of raw vegetables. So we're gonna get some water off of our frozen vegetables. So I figured that would compensate for the remainder of our water here. Now, if I don't throw this all over the countertop, I'm just using my baby whisk to get this mixed in, and I just want to get the lumps out, and I want to get the seasoning package mixed into the water so that we can just let it sit for a minute or two, hydrate all those wonderful seasonings that are in there, the chives, the onions, the garlic. Let that all get rehydrated. And then we're gonna dump it into our chicken and our vegetables. And we're gonna let it simmer for a couple of minutes. And that's it, that's Homestyle chicken stew. If it couldn't be quicker, the longest part of this whole thing is going to be, when you're making Homestyle chicken stew, the longest part is cutting up your chicken and sauteing your chicken. Seriously, that is it. All right, I'm gonna put that over there. I've got this on medium, so we're just gonna let those veggies and that chicken get warm through. I just want to defrost, actually, the frozen vegetables before we throw our sauce in there. So while that's happening, I'm gonna spin you around. We're gonna come over here and we're gonna start making our Homestyle biscuits. All right, so Homestyle biscuits, we're gonna make them 2 ways tonight. Yeah, I'm just getting that seasoning off of there because I need this for our biscuits. All right, so that's sizzling up a bit. I'm just gonna wait for it to sizzle a little bit more, and then I'm gonna drop that sauce in. Okay, hi Carol. All right, I'm gonna turn you around here so that you can see me on my workstation. And I'm gonna pull you back a bit so you can really see the workstation. All right, there we go. All right, so you have seen me make quick biscuits before. We need our quick biscuit mix, which is in our Epic box this month. So we're gonna get that package opened. And we're gonna get out of the fridge, because I forgot to get out of the fridge, a cold butter. So I took half a cup of butter, which is what the recipe calls for, and I put it through my box grater. And so it comes out shredded cold butter. I find it's the easiest thing. It was actually Carol that taught me to do that. I find it the easiest thing to do when you're making biscuits because it's so much easier to incorporate into your mix. All right, so let's get our mix in there. Now, I was beginning to tell you what I'm going to do. So, we are going to mix this up, and we are going to split the batter into two. We're going to make savory biscuits with some cheese and some herb and garlic for the base of our pot pies. All right, and we're going to put those into a muffin tray when they're ready to go. And this is going to be fun because I hurt my wrist this week, so bear with me. And of course I'm left-handed, and it's my left hand that I hurt my wrist with, so this is going to be lots of fun. So we want to just get this butter incorporated into the mix, and we want to get it in there, this shape of peas. Now, we did a really good job with grating our butter, our cold butter, and the colder the better. If you've grated it in advance, you can throw it in the freezer, because the colder, the better it is to incorporate, and it won't melt as fast. Okay, the reason we're using really cold butter is because we want those pockets in these biscuits that will hold air. So when they bake, the butter melts, and it leaves a pocket in your biscuit to leave them nice and light and airy. I didn't know that, so it's a tip that I'm sharing because I didn't know. All right, so we're just back and forth motion with our pastry blender, and we're trying not to twist it, but just back and forth and cutting that butter into this mix. Now, it does look very good. We're getting to the size of peas. And of course, peas come in all different shapes and sizes. I'm assuming they mean like small peas, not huge peas, because I wouldn't have to do any work if it was large peas, and you have to work for this one. The better that you incorporate the butter in there, the more tender your biscuits are going to be. And so if you leave the butter quite whole and clumpy, you're not going to have very tender biscuits. All right, so I will show you what this looks like. I think I did a pretty good job here. So there's what. I don't want to lose any of it. So I was beginning to say, we're making biscuits two ways. We're going to make biscuits savory for our chicken pot pies. So we're going to use some herb and garlic and some cheddar cheese. And for our, these are starting to smell like they're really cooking, and they really are. So I'm going to turn this down. I've got color on my veggies, and I'm going to drop in our mix, okay? So in that goes. Get all of your goodness out of your measuring cup, because a lot of your herbs are going to sink to the bottom of the cup. So you just want that to thicken up. So I've turned it down, put it in, I'm going to stir it. It's not going to take long at all for that to thicken, as it already is starting to. And once it's thickened, that's it, you're done. All right. A minute or two, it's already bubbling away, and we're done. Okay, our chicken pot pie is done, or our chicken stew is done. I've got my oven preheated for our, there we go. Okay, off. I'm going to put our lid on there. All right, that part of it's done. Now, what was I going to do over here? Oh, I was going to show you what the peas look like. So, there's our mix cut into, the butter cut into pea format. So you can see they're pretty small. Looks pretty good. So now we're going to go on to the next step. The package calls for 2/3 of a cup of milk. I'm using 1/2 a cup of milk. The reason I'm doing that is because I'm not going to make biscuits the same way as it says on the package. I'm going to roll them. So I want them a little bit drier, for lack of a better term. All right. So we're going to beat that egg into our milk. Just calls for 1 egg beaten into our milk. And I would use my little baby whisk, but as you could see, my baby whisk I used for my chicken stew. So it's done. It's dirty and I'm not going to wash it, spend the time washing it when I can be making these biscuits. All right, so that's good. It's in there, it's incorporated. You can see it looks like eggnog. You want to make sure you get it really well incorporated there, because you don't want the egg running through your biscuits, or your biscuit, it will make your biscuits tough. Okay? All right, so I think we're good. We've got a beaten egg in there with our milk. Yeah, okay. So this is going to go into our mix. All of it in there. And I have the milk out in case we get too dry. All right, but we want to just pull these biscuits together now with that milk and egg mixture. And if it is too dry, we'll add a little bit more milk. Not a problem. But I do want them quite dry because, like I said, I do want to roll these. Or at least the ones that I'm going to be using for our chicken pot pies. Okay, we do need a little bit more milk here. I figured we would, but I just wanted to be safe. Okay. Now remember, we're also going to add some seasoning to this, and some we're going to add some seasoning, and we're going to add some cheese. So that's also going to be dry ingredients going into this. So we do kind of want to know that we're going to keep this all together. Now, right down to the bottom of the bowl, because you will have your flour, your gluten-free flour stuck to the bottom of the bowl. All right. I am going to pull out 2 small bowls, because like I said, we're going to divide this batter into 2 as best we can. And one we're going to add herb and garlic and cheese. I actually just need 1 bowl, I guess, because we're going to add herb and garlic and cheese to that one. This one we're going to do as a sweet. So we have cheese and we have our herb and garlic. So I'm going to use about, I'm going to say a good teaspoon, teaspoon and a half of our herb and garlic mix in this. Maybe just a teaspoon and a little bit. And we're gonna throw our cheese in there as well. So I don't want to overdo the biscuits with the herb and garlic, but I do want that flavor in there. All right, let's add our cheese. I'm going to use that to cut our biscuits. So now we're going to get our biscuits out onto this flimsy little thing because I'm going to knead them. So I'm going to knead them until I can get them into a position where I can roll them. So I'm going to get my hands dirty, and I should have taken off my ring, but I didn't. And that's okay. So it's a bit sticky at the moment, but that's okay. We're going to get it to the point where we can actually roll it. And what I'm going to do to roll it is I'm going to actually just flatten it out and cut out some rounds so that we can pop them into our muffin trays. Okay? So, as you can see, it's pretty sticky and it's all stuck to my hands, and that's okay. All right. Lots of dishes for tonight. And I really wanted to try this. I saw Sherry posted this recipe on her page today. So it made this, and we could have very well made this with Pillsbury crescent rolls. So we could very well have done that, just bought some Pillsbury crescent rolls and used the Epicure stew in it. But I wanted to kind of try this with our biscuits. See if we could lighten it up even a little bit further. So I'm going to try and use this parchment paper just to thin this out to the point where I can get it thin enough to cut it so that it will go into our muffin trays and cook as a base. I don't want it very thick because I do want it to cook in our muffin trays. But I also want it even. Okay? So, and the trick with that is I use parchment paper so that I didn't dirty my rolling pin. And my rolling pin's gonna fall on the floor or somewhere. Let's put it down there. Plop that into our garbage. All right, so there's our dough. And now we're just gonna cut that into rounds and put it in our muffin tin. I don't know if that's too big. It is too big. I just had an empty jar. What did I do with it? There it is. Thought I left it out. Okay. So I'm just getting little rounds. I want to put them into my muffin tins, and they're fitting perfectly down the sides. Now I could take some of the leftover excess and put it around the sides if I need to, but I don't think we need to. I think it's going to bubble up with the chicken pot pie in there. So there's 2 and there's 3. Now it's sticking to the 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I didn't know how many we would get. I could probably re-roll this with more parchment paper, but I'm not going to. I will re-roll it definitely, but not live with you guys, because you're getting the gist of what I'm doing here, and I don't want to keep you on here all night. So we're going to finish these ones up. So I've got, what have I got? I've got 8, and I think I could probably use my hand and push this down and make 9 or 10. You definitely get 9 out of these. All right. So that didn't work very good, but that's okay. Number 9. And number 10. I think I can get 12. I really think I can get 12. Let's try this. There it is, almost 11. And flatten this one out, move this over, we can probably get 12. Messy, messy, messy. Let me tell you. All right, we got 12. And I am not playing with the rest of this dough tonight. I will be honest with you. I am going to definitely just fill a couple of these up, because I do not want any of the mix going down to the very bottom underneath the biscuit. So you want to make sure that they're full right to the edges. Let's put it that way. All right. So there is our biscuits in the bottom. That's what they look like. We're now going to bring over our, I'm not going to put that over there. We're going to grab out our hot pot, hot plate. Let's grab our chicken stew. And I'm going to fiddle these up. Okay, let's get this done so that we can mix up our sweet ones, get them in the oven, mix up our sweet ones, then I'll let you go and I'll take some pictures when these ones come out of the oven. Fingers crossed that it'll work. Like I said, this is a recipe I have not tried, and you guys are watching me, whether it works or whether it doesn't. All right. So we're going to use our ladle here. So this is still bubbling. This is what our chicken stew looks like. It looks amazing, smells delicious. And that was chicken stew in, I don't know, what, 10 minutes, 15 minutes maybe, from start to finish when I started cutting the chicken. So I'm just filling these up with the stew on top. Now I might be putting too much on, not sure. It did just say to top the biscuits off with the stew. fill the biscuits up with the stew, I think was the terminology. So that's what we're doing. And this is going to go into a 350 degree oven. And it's going to go in for about 30 to 35 minutes. You want those biscuits on the bottom to cook. So it is going to go in for longer than it would normally. Normally your stew would be ready now. We could put our biscuits in a really hot oven and have them ready in 15-20 minutes. And dinner would be ready. But because we're layering stew on top of a biscuit, which is a wet ingredient on top of a somewhat dry ingredient that we want, it's going to take a little longer. Okay, so, but the end result, if it tastes as good as it looked in the picture, we're going to be laughing. So fingers crossed that we're going to have some amazing chicken pot pie cups, for lack of a better term. Okay, so I think we're done. I think we got them all filled up here. I'm gonna bring them over and show them to you. I'm gonna pop them in the oven, and then we'll finish off our sweet biscuits, and I will sign off and post some pictures later and come back at about 8 o'clock, 8:30, let's say 8:30, and we will do our draw finally, because I got my prize in that I wanted. We'll do our draw for our burgers finally. I know I've been forever on that one. All right, so that is done. There are our chicken pot pie cups ready to go into the oven. Hello, Mr. Marshall. All right, so into a 350 degree oven they're going. And like I said, that's about 30 to 35 minutes. So timer, set it for 30 and start. All right, that's in the oven. Now, we still have some mix here. And what am I going to do with those? Well, I am going to make them sweet, and we're just going to scoop them into our muffin trays, and then I'm going to make them off separately because these will be, these will go into a higher degree oven because they are just the regular biscuits that we made. So I'm going to add to this some summerberry dip mix. Now I am using the same spoon, but I'm using the tablespoon measurement instead of the teaspoon that I used with the herb and garlic, because you don't want herb and garlic flavored sweet biscuits. All right, so that's our summerberry. I put about 1.5 tablespoons in, and I have here some peaches. So just some canned peaches that I drained. I'm going to add them in. Now, this is because, complete honesty, I had the other day, Cobb's Bakery has a new scone out, and it's a peach scone. And I have to tell you, it was absolutely delicious. I did have one. I don't usually indulge, but they were so good. And so right away my mind goes to, how can I epicurize this? So how can I epicurize this? So I thought, how about our biscuits made sweet with summerberry and peaches? Can we try it? So let's try it. So this has made them a little bit wetter because the peaches obviously hold juice. So we're going to scoop them into our muffin trays. I'm not going to free-form them like we usually do with our muffins, with our biscuits, because I think this will bake them off a little bit better, and I don't want too much, they're moist, so I don't want them going all over my oven, for starters. And secondly, I want to contain them. So if they don't turn out and they burn on me, well, then they're going to burn in my silicone and not somewhere else. All right, so into the muffin trays, and we're definitely going to get 6, maybe 8. Now, normally with our muffins, our good size muffins, we get 8. We're going to get, we have about enough for one more. Definitely one more, if not 2. But I don't want to use another muffin tin in the oven for 2. So I'm going to fill up some of these. And right now I feel like I'm just playing with this dough. I'm trying to make them as even as possible. They're not going to be, but that's okay. I want to get all of the peaches out of there because you definitely want to be able to taste the peaches in these. And this dough is really wet. All right, I think that's it. So that's our sweet tea biscuits, and they might turn out like muffins instead of tea biscuits, but I'll keep you posted and let you know exactly what happens with them. I will take pictures when they come out of the oven, and we'll see how long it takes to bake them off, and we'll taste them and see how delicious they are, and I might have just come up with a brand new recipe. So that's it. We have our chicken pot pie tarts in the oven, and they're going to go for another 25 minutes. We have our sweet peach summerberry biscuits ready to go in the oven when those come out. They're going to go in, the oven's going to go up to 400, I think it is, 425, and they're going to go in for about 20 minutes. So we will see how they turn out. I can't wait. They look delicious, they smell amazing, and I can't wait to show you the pictures. Hopefully they're all going to turn out. So thank you for joining me tonight. I hope you got something out of this. The Homestyle stew, the Homestyle chicken stew is amazing. It's quick, it's fast for any night of the week. You can make it for dinner. We're going to see how it turns out with these biscuits. All right, I hope you have a wonderful evening. Tomorrow is Wednesday. I'm not sure if I'll be on tomorrow. I will let you know, but I will be back at 8. Let's say 8:30. Yes, let's say 8:30. We'll be back tonight, and we'll do our draw for our burger, for what you take on your burger, and we'll give away some prizes. All right, join me back here at 8:30. Bye for now, guys.